Alright guys, so strap in for a long one. This is going to be, well, potentially long one. Never really know until you know where I get started. So this is something I've wanted to do for a long time because I think, I mean, if you bounce around my videos enough, you can see the older videos I've done versus the newer videos I've done. If you really want to really look into it, you can go to Instagram and see like my before and afters I've got posted a couple times on there. I think you got to go back down pretty far for like my old really big fat guy picture versus what I'm looking like right now. But okay, so I guess to start off with this, I'll go all the way back as far back as I can remember the very first time I had any inklings that I was, getting fat. All right, I think right around the first time that I was concerned was right around the 20 years old. I didn't really have, I wasn't like hugely fat or anything. I was pretty fit up until, my very early 20s. Just naturally without doing anything. It wasn't until I started doing fast food work that I started like, oh, wait a minute, I'm starting to pack a little bit of fucking weight on here. Right, working at Wendy's and then later Miami Subs, picking at Wendy's was really bad because I used to pick a lot. So started gaining weight. And, but my saving grace was right around the age of 21. Things weren't going so good at work. I was working at Krispy Kreme at the time. I was a supervisor there. But I was having a beef with my boss for whatever reason. He just started picking on me, and people, my employees were coming and telling me that he was asking, trying to find dirt on me to looking for an excuse to fire me, right? So I was like, well, I'm not going back to minimum wage. I wasn't really making much more than minimum wage, but still minimum wage would have been like a several dollar drop. I think I was making like $11.50 or $12, so $7 an hour. Yeah. So I was like, well, fuck. I had a friend that also worked with me there that had been trying to get in the Army, and he was having problems with the ASVAB, his dumb ass. But he kept telling me, bro, you should go check it out. You should go check it out. I was like, nah, I don't want to do that. My dad before had mentioned, enlisting when I was in a financial pinch. I was alone in Miami. Had my family there. My uncles and grandmother didn't really care about helping me out that much. Not like I was expecting them to, but there wasn't, my grandmother could help me for a while, but she was living in a old people place, so the condos, so eventually it was a problem. And I had some friends that bounced from couch to couch for a while, and my dad had told me you should probably join the Army to take care of you, and I was like, nah, I have to do this on my own. I have to be able to make it as an adult. I have to know I can take care of myself. So I wound up getting my old job at Krispy Kreme, getting the promotion, getting hired back on as a supervisor, as a matter of fact, when I was between jobs. And I wound up being able to save up enough to get to rent a room off somebody. I guess a lot of exposition or whatever. But anyway, I decided to go back to to the recruiters because I wasn't going to lose my money, and I couldn't think of anything else I could do to transfer to that would equal my pay. So I went to go talk to the recruiters, and I was like, okay, I'll just do a delayed entry type thing. I'll do the processing, pick my job, take my time. But once it got down to it, man, I got pretty fucking hyped. And 7 days after I walked into the recruiting office, I was on a fucking plane. I was gone. So, of course, basic training happened, and I locked out like fucking 30, 40 pounds. I entered MEPS at 208 pounds. And coming out of basic training, I was 172. That's the only time in my adult life I can remember being that low, right? And then, of course, I went to AIT. The restrictions loosened up a little bit, so I was able to eat more junky food and shit. And I gained, 10 pounds or whatnot. I think, no, a little bit more than that, because I think I remember coming out of AIT, I was 189, which is right exactly where my body height is supposed to be at. That's the weight I'm supposed to be, is 189. So then, I go to Korea, and the first year was going good with my weight, no problem. And then I met my wife. And then at that point in time, I started to gain weight, and then so not only meeting my wife, but I was I was in a position where I could bullshit out of PT if I wanted to. So more often than not, I did, and I didn't work out afterwards on my own. So I started to gain weight. So I wound up getting pretty fucking chunky again, man. So I think I built up to 240, which is a big fucking no. At this point in time, I was already in E4, so it being flagged, I didn't really care. Points for to get promotion to E5 was 798. I didn't have anywhere near that at the time, so I wasn't really I wasn't tripping on it too hard or whatnot. And then of course, I gained control of weight. I was able to get back to PT standards and shit, or whatnot, but the weight was still a bit of an issue. And then I went to Afghanistan, and then going to Afghanistan, I came back again, low, 218. I was able to hold it there for the rest of my time, and I was in service. So I got out, and I didn't blow up right away, but I think within the first year I got back up to 240 again. Yeah, no, it wasn't even the first year. It was 2 years. 2 years out after I got out is when I got back up to 240. I was back in Rider. I got out in 2013, and 2015 is when I started to noticeably get fat again. And so from there, then I wound up transferring around, became service manager, and that's right around the time I started the channel. Is when you guys, see me as Mr. Fat Guy. I was pushing 300 pounds. Didn't know it at the time because I was avoiding the scale. And I wasn't really taking a lot of pictures, wasn't letting people take pictures of me or whatnot. I wasn't really paying attention in the mirror. I knew I was big, but I didn't realize how big because I had grown accustomed to seeing myself. I had grown accustomed to my size, and my wife wasn't really complaining, so whatever. So eventually, my birthday came around, my 30th birthday, and I got caught in a picture, of course, my wife, taking a picture, and when I seen it, that's the one I go to when I refer back to my before picture, right? That picture, I was like, holy fuck, I'm big. So then I got on the scale, 298 pounds. I was like, oh my god, I'm almost 300 fucking pounds. I'm like cutting hair away from it. So yeah, at that point, I fucking freaked out. I had a treadmill, I just hadn't been using it, and I've been wanting to work out, lifting weights. I talked about it, for a couple of years. I was always too nervous about getting into it because they didn't want to look like a dummy. They want to look like a weak little bitch. So I had a garage at the time. I was still living in West Virginia in a bigger house, so I got a little bullshit ass cheapy set with the plastic weights, a bench, started benching. So I initially I started doing a little bit of cardio. That wasn't really working out too well for me because it just killed me, man. I was huge and didn't want to do it. So I kind of did cardio every once in a while, like every other day type shit. And then I really focused on lifting weights, and I started to portion size, control my portions. Like I wasn't fasting or dieting or anything. I just, I was controlling my portion sizes. I was still eating the same shit. I just wasn't eating beyond. I wasn't eating to get stuffed anymore. I was just eating to be full, and then that was it. So I started, I bought a newer scale because I think I kept going around in the 10-pound weight area range, and I wasn't really losing weight. And I was tripping on it. I was like, there's no way, because I knew at that point in time I was doing enough where the weight should have been coming off. And I know that there's always the thing, well, you think you're doing more than you are, but you really aren't, or you eat more than you think you are. But I was pretty confident because this wasn't the first time it was the first time I'd been that heavy and had to do that big of a cut. But it wasn't the first time that I experienced a weight cut. So I knew what I was doing. I should have cut at least 10 pounds. So I went out to Walmart, bought a new scale because the scale I had was 3 years old, and sure enough, I was 280 or something like that, 289. So I was benching at home for a while. Once I got to the point where I was doing over 100 pounds comfortably on my bench, I got rid of it, and I didn't get rid of it. I got a bigger bench, and then I started going from there. Started benching the bigger weights. I was moved up to 135, and I kept benching, and I bought the little dumbbells and shit for the home for home, but I didn't wasn't really using them as much as I probably should have been. After a while, I just got to the point where I was ignoring it, like I was ignoring the cardio. I was like, well, all I care about is a big bench press, and I'm making bounds. I'm making leaps and bounds, right? And so. Of course, the same thing like that with everything else. Like you're starting to lift more than you ever have before. You're gonna start getting shoulder pain, chest pain. My arms were a problem after a while. Wrists, So I had to work around. I used to bench every day, 10 sets of 10, and then eventually I had to start doing every other day as the weight went up. As I started going up in weight, I had to start playing with it because I was literally killing myself. Not to mention the fact that you're supposed to bench out like this, right? Because it's supposed to be a chest exercise, but I was benching more along the lines of this, closed grip, more for triceps, because the bench I had wasn't the full width. Even though it was bigger than the one I had before, it still wasn't as big as it should have been, right? So I was pretty happy with my progress, and I kept sticking with it. I got animalistic with it because I was reading forums and shit, people trying to get to a 300-pound bench, and they were talking about how much time it takes. It takes about a couple years to get there. People people work out for a year just to get to 225. Well, I got to 285 in 6 months. So I was apparently I was crushing it, and I was doing close grip bench instead of wide like I was supposed to. So at that point in time, that's when I started checking my weight again, and I was like 268-ish, around that area, right? So I was like, all right, cool, man. I haven't needed to really run too much. I'd pretty much stopped cardio at that point, and I was just benching and watching portion sizes again. And then finally, I was benching 285. I felt confident enough where I could go out in public and work out. My friends were also veterans and shit that I also happened to live in the same town. And I started going out with them. I served with them. It wasn't just like veteran friends. Like I actually served with them when I was in Fort Bliss. Like our units deployed together. And so he finally talked me into going out to the gym. I went out to the gym with him, and at night after work, I started doing that. I cut a little bit more weight. I got down to like 258 as my lowest point at that point, and I was doing a more full workout, doing everything I was supposed to be doing, the groups and shit. But my bench did suffer dramatically. I still wasn't training properly enough, and my bench numbers dropped bad. So that kind of pissed me off. And the weight wasn't going away, so I was kind of frustrated. And then right around that time that I started that, I was really heavily into working out at the gym and stuff. I transferred back down to Florida. So I came back home, and at first I was living with a friend. I wasn't really working out anymore because, I didn't have a home gym equipment anymore. I couldn't work out at home, and I wasn't gonna come straight away into finding a gym. So and then on top of that too, like Florida, there's a lot of places to eat. There's a lot of good buffets as opposed to where I was, where there wasn't that kind of shit to worry about. So I was at the buffet like every week with my wife, and inevitably I gained weight again. Didn't realize it either. So I'm looking at myself in the mirror like, yeah, I'm looking good still. I'm straight, right? And then, so I got my gym membership like a month or so after being there, like 2 months into it. I was like, all right, I need to start working out again. So I did. Start working out, started lifting again. I felt pretty confident. I was like, yeah, I'm looking pretty good. Yeah, I'm fine. went to the recruiter, and because at that point in time, I was like, I was 3 months with my friend. My homeboy's really putting pressure on me. Like, you gotta go, man. And I'm like, okay. He doesn't want to have any problems with his landlord, So I'm like, okay, fine. I was like, oh, I'm strapped, man. Like I'm paying. I was paying, helping him pay bills, and I was still paying, everything that I had to pay to get us by, and it's just money wasn't coming in fast enough, and the credit score wasn't good enough to get a place on a decent budget, So, I was like, well, bro, I'm gonna go talk to a recruiter. If I can't find a house in a month, I'll re-enlist, and just so that way I can get out of your hair. I went to the recruiter, and he's like, well, he's like, I talked to him. So initially I sat down and showed up DD214 and just talked to him, like, what's the options and everything. And I guess I really wish I would have been able to go back then, because it would have been easier. I wouldn't have had to do basic training again. Like, I would have warrior transition courses, like 6-week training for prior service guys, and then AIT if I was going to reclass. But he's like, well, I see that you got a flag on here for weight. And I'm like, he's like, so what do you weigh? I'm like, like 260 something. He's like, well, let's see if you can make tape. So I went back and shattered that tape. Got on the scale, I was 275. No, I was 278. I was 278 pounds. I was like, oh my fucking God, man. I didn't realize I gained that much fucking weight again. Now, I'm going from like 250 something to 280 something, so or damn near 280. So I was kind of fucking tripping on it. I thought I was doing well, and I wasn't. So I'm like, okay, I was like, my waist, I think, was like a fucking 48 or some shit like that. I was up there, so I was nowhere near making tape. So, but whatever, job was fine, and eventually we were able to find somebody to help us out, that was able to work with us, and I was able to get a place and didn't have to worry about it anymore, and work was good for a long time, again, until it wasn't. But anyway, that's not really part of the fucking story, because it's not like I was cutting weight to re-enlist. I was cutting weight because I was a fat piece of shit and didn't want to be. So I moved into the house July 4th, and also in July, if you go to my Instagram, you'll see it. I benched 305 for the first time, and I said to myself, and I said to my wife, I was like, look, I'm not gonna focus on weight cutting just yet. I'm mad close to benching 305, which has been my long-term goal. I've been trying to get 300. I was so close, and I fucking lost it. I've been doing good. I'm building my strength back again. I want the 305 bench, and I gotta go for that. And so I'm going for it, and I got it, and I was like, all right. I swore to God that once I hit 305, I was going to start cutting weight. So at that point, I re-geared everything. I started using the fuck out of my treadmill at home. Started doing intermittent fasting, hardcore on the portion controls, and and I just kind of slowed down the weightlifting and just kind of dropped all my levels. Well, eventually what I was so focused on cardio and cutting weight that I just did enough lifting just to maintain some semblance of strength. Now, I went back to working out like a piece of shit again. I was only doing bench work just to keep my bench good, right? But everything was focused on weight cutting. So I guess now we go into the story of exactly what I did, easing my way into it, because I was a fat piece of shit and cardio was going to have to be a thing, and it wasn't easy to start off with, right? So getting on the treadmill was hard again for me. I ran like 4 miles an hour for a good while, which if any of you guys that work out regularly know that 4 miles an hour isn't even really a run. It's a shuffle. You can walk it at a fast pace. It's a fast walk, but it does make a difference between you actually shuffling your feet to do a little bit of a jog and doing a walk. It's different. And I encourage you to do your shuffle. Do an airborne shuffle, right? So start doing that. Now that was killing me. Like I couldn't do more than 10 minutes, so I was just doing 10 minutes. I would do 10 minutes a day. And watching the fucking my portions and everything, and eventually okay, so got doing the gym thing. I would do my workout there, and it would also be like another really short run. And after a while, I was able to slowly work it up where I was running 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. 45, an hour. Now I can do an hour, I can do 45 minutes, but generally speaking I tend to run 35 to 40 minutes or 3 miles, depending on what time of the week it is nowadays, because the later into the week it is, the more energy it saps, and you just, so what I do is what the most important thing is running the length of time running, not so much how fast you run. So if I'm struggling to run my normal times, I down the speed until I feel comfortable to do my full 30 minutes, at a minimum 30 minutes, right? So just getting out. I guess here's one of those things where I was watching Dan Crenshaw's podcast with Joe Rogan the other day, and he was talking about SEAL team training and all that thing, and he's talking about getting recycled at one point in time because he broke his leg, or he fractured his leg, and it's one of the things that the instructors ask you, like, are you hurt or are you injured? So you got to find that balance. You got to find that balance, and it's I guess it's a fine line to walk. I think for me personally, there was a couple of times where I was injured and I pushed through it, but so you have it's gonna hurt really fucking bad. It's gonna hurt really fucking bad. The more you start to push, the more times you go for, the more frequently you do it, the more dick is gonna suck, right? So you're gonna hurt, and you have to learn to push your limits. And if you don't push your limits, you're never gonna make progress. Your body's never gonna adapt. Your body adapts to under stress. You need to stress it. If you're not feeling uncomfortable, you're not doing anything. All right, and then also you need a big thing for motivation is a scale. You need a scale to be able to track your weight loss. Now, the best time to just see what your true weight is when you first wake up in the morning, right? Whatever you wake up at, that's what you are going to be, because you're going to cut a couple of pounds doing cardio, but then you're going to eat, most likely break your fast, and you're going to, whatever the fuck you woke up at, you're going to match that again. You're going to go back up to that. So what I realized was, like, I was losing 2 pounds a week at first, and that fucking sucks. Now, at first it was alright, it was cool. I was like, losing 2 pounds a week, yeah, that's cool. I was making steady progress. If for those of you that are actual personal friends of mine on Facebook, you've seen me flood my Facebook with it, progress pictures on the scale, and it's down, 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 down. Now, coming down from 280 down to the 260s or whatnot, it was wasn't difficult. I think by the time I got to the 250s and shit, running was becoming easier. At that point in time, I was able to go longer. But so to tell you about the time for between being hurt and injured, like, there was one point in time where my foot, the whole bottom of my right foot was black and blue, like it was bruised, the whole fucking thing. And at first, like, getting out of bed in the morning was painful, and so I would get into it and I would kind of hobble on the treadmill for a little bit, and I would like shift the weight on how I would place it on my feet. Instead of placing it like flat, I would go like on the side a little bit, and that would help me get into it. And once after you get to the first 15 or so minutes, your body starts, your legs go numb and you don't feel it anymore, and you just go. And then it would suck dick for like the first 30 minutes after I'd get off the treadmill. I'd be hurt so bad. But by the time I got out of the shower or whatnot and sat down and settled down for a little while, I was good. It didn't hurt anymore, no more pain. So that was it, man. I pushed through it a lot, and it wasn't until I got down to the 220s is when it got to be a problem again. Like it was hard to cut weight, and so I was like, all right, well, I gotta stop bullshitting, and I would have to double down on the cardio. So I would only do like little cardio at night, like on the bike or whatever, after my lifting, because I was doing the full cardio in the morning and it was fasted. And I was like, well, that's not doing it enough anymore. So if I really want to break this plateau of being stuck at 220, I need to do something else. So I jumped over to doing full-on cardio at night. So I would lift for about 30-40 minutes, and then I would go run for about 30-40 minutes. And that was when I fucking broke through it. I broke through my plateau. The last plateau I had, it was really difficult, and I got all the way down to 205 in December. And then my work schedule changed, and it was harder for me to maintain the 5-day workout and the fasting. So I gained weight again. I gained weight back to the 225. But here's the difference. At that point in time, around the first quarter of the year, I was maintaining around 215, 220. And then I started lifting heavy again. But not just lifting heavy, but because I started lifting and I hurt myself. Because I was pissed off that I could only bench 185 comfortably. I was kind of upset about that, and I was trying to push myself too fast to 205, and I lifted it off the fucking rack, and I felt my back twinge, and I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna try and rep it anyway. And as soon as I did that, I fucking locked it up, had to go to the hospital. It was ridiculous. So there is that fine line of knowing yourself. You have to know yourself, and the good thing is when I lifted predominantly alone. So I had to learn where it was safe for me. I had to learn how to feel whether I'm gonna make it or not, because you don't have a spot. You don't want to catch yourself in an embarrassing situation, right? So I hurt myself, was able to re-rack the weight, and then I was like, I gave myself some time to heal from the injury, focus on cardio again to keep myself good, and then I decided I need to change out my workout routine. I need to really focus on this properly. I need to do arms, shoulders, back, all that shit, right? Now, if you're asking, Chris, why don't you do legs? Because I do legs every day. I run twice a day. My calves are fucking muscly as shit. Now, I will admit, though, that my thighs aren't as strong as I thought they were, because, when you shuffle, you just do like a knee twinge instead of like a full-on spread, which would involve your thighs, because I don't really sprint too often. So, and how did I find out my thighs are weaker than I thought? Because I used to be the fucking bomb diggity at sit-ups, and I went to do my sit-ups the other night to see if I was at PT standards, which back in the day I think it was like 56, which I used to be able to do no problem. Now it's like 42, and I had to struggle a little bit to do it. I was fucking pissed at myself, and because I do my sit-ups with my legs, not my core. But anyway, I was able to knock it out, so I'm good there. But that's why I do so chest is Monday, and then chest is Tuesday because I'm off Monday. Chest is Tuesday, arms is Wednesday, Thursday is shoulders, and then back is Friday, and then of course I run throughout. Now you do need to give yourself rest time, so I don't run too much on the weekends. Usually I only run once or twice on my days off. That being, I run like Saturday I'll run, and then I'll run Monday. Saturday's not my day off, but I work, so it's the last day that I'll run, and I'll just run one time that day, and then I'll run one time on Monday to get myself at the end of the day prepped to get right back into the workout week. Now the good thing about this is not only do you get the rest, but also for me on the weekends, like cheating, my cheat time for eating a lot is the weekends. Like when I say cheating, I'm not like saying that just eating junk food, because generally speaking I eat junk food. I'll get into my specific diet a little bit here in a minute, but what I do for the weekends eating, when I say cheat meals, like I eat a fuck ton. Like I smash out like 4,000 calories, bro. So that my normal weight at the end of the week is around 215. Like I'm right now, I just got on the scale, I'm 214 pounds, right? On the weekends, I would hit Chili's, hit a buffet or whatever. And now, if I hit Chili's, I'm loading up the table. Entree, appetizers, multiple appetizers, lots of alcohol. I'm drinking fucking margaritas, them $5 margaritas, man. Now, if I go to the buffets, of course, there's no alcohol, but I'm still eating like 3 plates, right? So I would blow up from 215 to like 233 or whatnot. And then, of course, when I'm home, I'd be eating cereal or what I just like picking out throughout the day. Right, but the thing is, like, you bloat a lot from fluids too. Like, there's a big fluid bloat, like water weight, right? So now, once I would start my run again the next day, or the day before I'm getting ready to go back to work, I start my work, and I would feel fucking fantastic, bro. I could run, at a really good speed, and I could just keep going. Like I could knock out an hour, no problem, and I could knock out an hour and still feel like I could go some more. And so I would go to sleep at like 233 pounds or 232 pounds or 32, 31, somewhere around that. And I would wake up the next day and do my cardio, and I would be down to like 226. So like I didn't freak out too much about blowing up, because I knew a lot of that was the extra fluids I was carrying from, smashing down all those drinks and not really doing anything physical. So I would stay like that, and then so I'd cut down. 226 would be my start of the week, and then I would cut back down to like 215 as the days would go by, because I would intermittent fast again, and the meal portions would be smaller, and I wouldn't eat as much throughout the day because I'm working. So that would be like that. So the good thing is once you get to a weight where you're happy at. Now, here's another thing too. Like those obesity charts, man, they're not really everything they're all cut out to be. Like I know it's one of those things where it's a weird thing where like we gotta change the standard to meet what we are. Yeah, okay, I'm not saying that, but at the same time too, I'm not huge anymore. Like, I'm not huge anymore, and most people tell me like, holy fuck, you're 9-day difference and you look good, and I feel like I look okay. Like I'm satisfied with the way I look. I would like to be a little smaller, but it's not a big deal. I'm comfortable at this weight. So once you get to a weight that you're comfortable at, you just gotta maintain that. So you can go out and eat heavy on the weekends if you want to, because as long as you're working out like you're supposed to be throughout the week, you're gonna be fine. You don't have to worry about losing weight anymore. There's a difference between cutting weight, which fucking sucks, and then maintaining weight, which is a lot easier. And every single weekend is, like I know people who are, like they try to stay physically fit, but as long as you're not trying to stay super rock hard abs, not trying to stay at a super low weight, I eat donuts, whatever the fuck I want, I guess now we'll talk about the, the cardio thing, right? Or the diet thing, right? Now, first off, as watching people like Joe on their podcast and whatnot, diets are, for me, diet is a fucking curse word. It's a cuss word. I don't like it. It's a diet. Diet's bad. And diet's also a bad mentality. The reason why this is this right here. Like, I guess that when you say diet, for me, like the type of meals that you like to eat, like the type of way you like to live, that would be the only time I would say diet's not a bad word. Like if you're vegan, like, and you're really sticking to it, great. Diet is fine. That's what you are. That's your lifestyle. Keto, if that's what you can do, like, and you can legit stay ketogenic, that's great. That's not carnivore, like whatever. If that's a specific way you can live, and you can live like that for the rest of your life, that's fine. Because that's what the reason why diet is a cuss word for me is because diet implies that whatever you're doing is going to go away. Like, I'm doing this because I want to get to a certain place, then once I get there, it just goes away and I go back to doing whatever I was doing before. The thing is, you need to find a way to balance your life and your meals with a way that you can maintain forever. Whatever you're doing to lose weight, you have to do it for the rest of your fucking life. Because if you don't, you have to run the risk of returning back to what you were before. It is very easy. I've heard people like that. That's why every time I want to lose weight, cardio. You need to do cardio. You need to work. I'm just gonna do a diet. Oh, I've lost 7-8 pounds these last 2 weeks on my diet. Eat one fucking cheat meal. Eat one. Go to fucking McDonald's. Go to the buffet one time. That was gone. That 7-8 pounds you took 2 weeks to lose, starving yourself, eating little bullshit foods like salads and shit. Now, I enjoy a good salad, but whatever. I'm not going to live off of that. So, you're doing all that shit to kind of cut back on weight, and then, boom, one big meal, and you gain 10, 15 fucking pounds. I know, because I constantly weigh myself. So I know it's very easy to go out and gain that weight right back. So there's that, right? So, I can't do a diet. Plus, I don't have the time to meal prep. I don't have the patience to meal prep. I don't have the patience to go and pick out certain foods at Walmart. I just get whatever the fuck I can that's normal and easy for me. So I eat my fucking Cuban sandwiches or my rice or whatever. I just make sure I don't go overboard on it, right? And then the weekends, like I said, I eat whatever the fuck I want. And as a matter of fact, even while I was cutting weight, I ate whatever the fuck I wanted. Until I got to that 220 plateau. Once I got to the 220 plateau and I couldn't break it anymore, I had to stop taking any extra calories on the weekend. So, because my body was fighting me at that point. It's like, well, you got fat to lose, but at this point, your workout's not enough to burn. It's enough to maintain the 220, but it's not enough to get under it. So I stopped for those couple of weeks. I cut out the buffets and shit, and I was able to get down to 205. So the whole thing is really making sure you can find a plan to get to whatever you want. and cardio. Cardio is 100% the workout key. Like, I had a friend that was working out with me for a while, and he was kind of disappointed because he wasn't losing weight the way he wanted to. But at the same time, he wasn't taking the cardio seriously. I'm not the kind of guy that gonna get to tell you what you have to do. Like, you want to come work out with me? Fine. I'm gonna look. This is what you need to do. This is what you should be doing. I'm not gonna fight with you to make you do it. You either listen or you don't. But then the results are gonna show. Like, you guys, like I was telling him, I was like, look, man. If you follow exactly what I'm telling you, you will lose the weight. You know me for how many years. You see me super huge and fat, and you see me now, you know what you need to do. And he was like, oh, I'm going to just do, He wasn't really saying no or going against me, but the way that the attitude I got was like, you are not taking me seriously. The way you're thinking and the way your attitude shows me is that, yeah, that's cool, but I know what I'm doing. I'm going to do my own thing, and it's going to work, and it didn't work out. Because not taking the cardio seriously. You can lift weights all you want. I guarantee you lift weights for an hour. Go lift weights for an hour. You're going to lose 2 pounds at most if you are lucky. But lift your fucking weights and do the cardio, and you're going to lose fucking 4 pounds. Or just do the fucking cardio, and you're going to still lose 3 pounds a session. So cardio is the fucking key. And elliptical and bike are not gonna get you rapid weight loss. If you were wanting to see fast results, as results fast, you have to fucking run. I went from 275 in July to 205 in December, right? So that's a fucking 6-month window that I dropped 70 fucking pounds, right? And it's because I ran like an animal. I barely lifted weights. I barely lifted weights every other day, and I ran. It is going to be painful. It is going to fucking suck. But if you try to do the elliptical or you try to do the fucking the bike, you're going to cheat yourself for 2 reasons. One, because they both run off of your regular locomotion. Like, you're not going to be able to you're going to slow down without even realizing it that you're doing it. So you're not going to ever move as fast as you do on the treadmill. Now on the treadmill, you set that fucking time, that pace on that belt, and you have to lift up your legs or you will fall the fuck off of it. So, get a pace that you can maintain for the course, and it is never going to slow down. So if you start fast and elliptical, eventually you start to slow down and you won't even realize it. Whereas opposed to you do that on the treadmill, you're not going to slow down because that fucking belt is still going, and you just got to resist the urge to hit that fucking number down. Now, like I said in the beginning, is most importantly is finishing the amount of time you need. So walk down the numbers if you need to, but really you got to learn yourself. Like, learn where the fuck your limits are, and then once you find out where your limits are, like, you want to be comfortable running, but you don't want to be dying running. So you get to that point where you're comfortable, and then push a little bit past that by 0.2 miles an hour. Like, if 4.5 miles per hour is you're comfortable, I can do this all day, then go to like the 4.8 and play with that. And then go back and forth in that range between 4.5 and 5 miles an hour. Now, from my personal experience, 5.5 miles per hour, if you can do that for the 30 minutes, you'll lose 3 pounds, generally speaking, every time, or until your body starts to fight you and then you need to start changing things. But yeah, so I guess at the end of the day, man, like, there's no one thing works for everybody, and you don't have to go huge on the leafy greens and the protein with the chicken and all that shit. You don't have to. You can eat still whatever the fuck you want. You just gotta shrink those portion sizes down. You gotta control yourself on how much you're doing it. The one thing I can say that would be along the diet that I did switch to make a huge difference was I cut out the sugar drinks. So I stopped drinking sodas and I moved over to Crystal Light. And Crystal Light wasn't a hard change for me because I did a lot of Crystal Light when I was in Afghanistan, and so it was fine. And it's still a little sweet, Lemonade's my favorite one. It's still a little sweet, so it's not bad. But after a while, you start to miss like the carbonation from sodas and shit. So I was like, well, what the fuck, I need to change it up, but I don't want to go back to drinking sodas again. So, there's a lot of guys that I worked with that were drinking Perrier, and like I had my sparkling water attempt before, and it was like, oh man, that's disgusting. I don't think I can do it. But I hadn't had Perrier, so I was like, maybe it's different. So I tried it. It's like, that's not nearly as bad as I remembered it being. It's not that bad at all. So then I experimented with some other ones, and I got eventually moved to LaCroix. LaCroix is my shit. So I got fucking hooked on that shit. I was like, wow, this is way fucking better than Perrier, and it's cheap. And I can easily knock out a case in 2 days. Like, I'll drink 4, 5, 6 in a day. Like, yeah, because there are no calories. There's no artificial sweeteners. None of that added bullshit. 0 across the fucking board. So Doesn't matter if you drink as many as you want because you're drinking essentially, just water. So yeah, so LaCroix is my thing now. And then like as far as sodas go, like every once in a while, like, I want something. I think the one thing that out of all my sodas, I think my favorite one to go to is Coke, but I don't fucking crave it or miss it or anything like that. I won't shy away from having one if I go out to eat. Now, if I go out to the buffet, Coke or iced tea is most likely what I'm going to have. If I go out to Chili's, I just get water. I order water because I know I'm going to keep a steady stream of margaritas flowing. So I'm not drinking sodas. It's going to be water while I'm eating, and then the margaritas in between. Yeah, so you can, there's no, like I said, there's no big secret to it, man. If they're going to sell you pill ideas or whatever, just tell you all diet pills, what they do is they speed up your metabolism a little bit to make you sweat. So when you're taking those diet pills and you're like, oh, I'm losing weight, you're not really losing weight, you're just cutting water. That's why they tell you drink a fuck ton of fluids when you're on this, drink a lot of water, because that's what the pill is doing. It's just making you cut water weight. Same thing with the sauna. For those guys, if you don't know, the sauna isn't for losing weight. Unless you're like a fighter and you're cutting for a fight, you're deliberately cutting water weight because you're not going to replenish that water weight until you get on the scale. Then going to the sauna in an attempt to lose weight is a futile waste of time, because whatever you sweat off there isn't calories burned. It's just water running from your body, and as soon as you rehydrate, you're gaining all that weight back. So the sauna is not meant for cutting weight. Now, what is the sauna meant for? The sauna is meant for recovery of your muscles. Exposing yourself to extremely hot temperatures or extremely cold temperatures make synthesize shock proteins in your body. Right? Now, for extreme heat, you just generate heat shock proteins. For extreme cold, you generate cold shock proteins. Now, which one is better? I don't know. I don't have access to cryo. I have access to the sauna. So now they say to spend 20 minutes, at least 15 to 20 minutes, at least 3 times a week for help recovery. I spend 15 minutes a day after every workout, which turns out to be 4 days a week. So another thing is too, like I see a lot of people that go into the fucking sauna with hoodies on and shit like that. Now, the only way to effectively go into the sauna and lose more water is to wear a sweatsuit, like not sweatpants or anything, a plastic suit. Now, if you wear that, that'll work to cut more water. But again, unless you're a fighter deliberately cutting water weight purposely, cutting weight in the sauna is just not a thing. So wearing extra clothes in the sauna and shit to sweat more isn't going to be effective. You're only losing water. You're not burning calories. So you're not going to lose weight like that. And secondly, if you want to sweat and then you want to wear extra clothes to sweat, you have to wear the plastic shit. Because if you wear a hoodie or you wear sweat clothes in the fucking sauna, it is shielding your body from the heat. If you don't fucking believe me and you want to see, for example, try it out yourself. Wear a hoodie in there one day. Or just go fresh. Go straight into the sauna. Wear a hoodie. Go back in again another time wearing just shorts. See what leads to more sweat. You wear the heavy clothes and it insulates your body from the heat, and it takes you longer to actually start sweating. Now, if you go in and your skin is bare, you start sweating right away. So you want to go in with as little clothes as possible. This is the whole reason why motherfuckers just go in there with a towel. It's not just because fashion is whatever. That's the reason. You go in with as little clothes on as possible to let the heat really get to you as quick as possible to start sweating as fast as possible, right? So there's that. Just, a little tidbit at the end, like for everything. So if you really want to lose weight and I think the best thing to do is to leave this on a final note is to get a treadmill, get some kind of cardio machine at the house. Generally speaking, you can spend a couple $100s on a treadmill, and there's even though I'm living in a small place, I have room to set up my treadmill in my bedroom. So that is the key. Morning cardio is key, because that's, if you're fasting, the best way to take advantage of your fast is to do that cardio, because when you do your cardio fasted, you burn 40% more fat. If you got food in your body and you start doing cardio, even if you've let it digest for a while, you're still attacking the food that you just ate more than your storage. Think about it. Your body's looking for fuel. It's going to look for fuel the fastest, easiest way. The fastest way to burn fuel is whatever's in your stomach. So you got food just floating around there, like, oh, that's a fuel source. That's why we eat. So it's going to start attacking that food that you got in your stomach. So you're just burning off whatever you have sitting in there versus Where if you got an empty stomach, it starts looking for fuel, and it's like, oh well, the fucking tank is empty. We need to find fuel somewhere else. So it's like, oh, we got all this fucking fat stored. That's the fuel we're gonna burn. So that's why you want to run fasted. Now, as far as intermittent fasting goes, I try to fast anywhere between 13 to 16 hours, right? So now you think, oh fuck, that's a lot. That's a lot to fast. Well, it's not really. If you're sleeping the way you should be sleeping for 8 hours. So half of your fasted time you should be unconscious, right? And then the other part of your fast time can be like, well, the last bit, like, okay. So generally speaking, for me, I eat lunch between 6 and 8 at night, right? Lunch is my dinner when I'm at work, because that's when I'm fasting, right? So that'll be my last meal. And then, so 12 hours from there is 8 o'clock the next morning. So I don't eat the rest of the day at work. I go to the gym. I come home, chill for a couple hours, go to sleep, wake up, fast, do my run. So if the last time I ate was 8 o'clock at night, and then it's 8 o'clock in the morning, is the next day is 12 hours, right? And generally speaking, I run around 11. So, okay, so I kind of lied in that, 11 hours. 11 hours fasted, sometimes longer, right? Like I said, it really just depends on when the last time I ate. So no, I didn't really lie, 13 hours. So it's 11 to 13 more instead of, 13 to 16. So between 11 hours to 13 hours I fast, because it just really depends on when the last meal was that I ate, because I have to go to work at 2:30, so I have to be at work at 2:30, so I have to leave my house at 2 o'clock. So generally speaking, I don't like to rush. I like to make sure I eat my breakfast and whatnot, which is generally lunch. So run for 30-40 minutes, take a shower, cool off, because I take Satan showers, and then eat. I want to make sure I'm not rushing. So yeah. So that's it, So I still ate Burger King, I still ate McDonald's, still ate Wendy's, still ate desserts, ice cream. I did all of that while I was still cutting weight, But you just have to make sure you limit yourself, you portion yourself, and you gotta fast during the weekdays. You can still eat like whatever the fuck you want. You can eat heavy if you want on the weekend. But now, when I tell you this too, eating heavy on the weekend, now it's not like both my days off I was going out and smashing the buffet twice in a row. No, that's not the case. I would eat one big time, and then at home I wouldn't fast, so I would eat whatever the fuck I wanted while I was at home throughout the day. So I would eat that one huge fucking meal at Chili's or the buffet, and then at home I would wake up around 12, 1 o'clock, and I would eat breakfast, whatever the fuck breakfast was, and then a couple hours later I'd eat again, a couple hours after that I'd eat again, and at night I'd eat again. I'd pick throughout the night, so that's what I'm saying. Like on the weekend I was a lot looser with my meal, so also I like the hugest thing too for motivation is the scale. Like having a scale that you can track the weight loss is good. So that, when you see the weight coming down, like, so at first in the beginning when I was hobbling around through my run, doing little bullshit run times, I was losing 2 pounds a week, and then eventually I progressed to 4 pounds a week, and then at some points even 5. So 4 pounds is a relatively good experience, to lose a week. You wanna go into your next week really close to what your cut weight was for the week before, if you want to progressively go down the weight. So here's another thing too, like while I was eating like the way I was eating throughout the weekend, I would also every once in a while, like if I got to the point where I've already ate 3 times and I want to eat again, I'm just being greedy, I want to eat, I'm not really starving, but I'm hungry-ish, I want to get on so I would just go and hop on the scale real quick and see where I'm at. Like, okay, well, now we can afford to eat. So that's a good way to keep yourself in check, is to constantly keep up with it. And like, I'm not saying you have to go around with baggies and shit, weighing your shit on the scale. That's crazy. You don't want to get too fucking obsessed about it. You just, just hop on the scale real quick, see where you're at. You're going to be, like, I weigh myself naked after the shower. So, give or take 2 pounds when you got some clothes on. So I would see where I'm at, how dressed am I when I'm on the scale, and like, okay, so I'm within this range. Yeah, I can eat, because then you also know how much weight do you sleep off. If you stay properly hydrated, you'll float 2 pounds while you're sleeping. So like, oh, I'm gonna go to sleep, I should wake up at this tomorrow. It's just it's really learning your fucking body, But you don't have to do all kinds of craziness with the salads and the white chicken breast and all that shit. You can eat whatever the fuck you want. You just gotta be responsible. And the key to the huge key to losing weight is cardio, and the super key to cardio being effectively used is running in the morning. You need to be able to run in the morning, and you need to be able to run at night. Because here's why it's important, right? When you run in the morning, okay, so you wake up, okay, let's say like this morning. This morning I woke up at 217 pounds. I woke up at 217. It's like, okay, So I'm gonna run, take a shower. I should lose this much weight during this time. So when I got out of the shower, I got on the scale, 215.2, some shit like that. I'm like, okay, I'm exactly what I figured I should be at after my run. Also too, like as you get to lower on weight, you don't burn as much in from your run and without increasing the speed. And I'm not gonna kill myself for 1 extra pound running, so I'm okay with losing the 2 pounds. All right, so I'm at 215 right now. I didn't eat today, and I'm not gonna, because I got some shit to do that I can't. So I was like, okay, so let's say on a normal thing, like you have your meal, like because I only lost 2 pounds during the cut. I would imagine that after I ate and hydrated, I would be at 218, maybe 219. On a good ideal day, if you're balanced and your meal is balanced, you're gonna just regain what you cut, like say 215 back to 217. But on a day when I'm that low in the week, it would most likely be a pound or two over. So get up 217, cut to 215. You eat and whatever, and then you're back up to, like, say, 218, 219. Now you go to work, you do your work, you do your day, and then here's where the cardio at night becomes super critical. You go do your workout, and then you do your cardio. Now, after you do that cardio again, that water weight that you bloated up during the day is gonna go. So if you've done your meals properly, you haven't overate during the day, you're gonna not get too heavy on the food side, but you're gonna bloat up from the fluids, right? So you go, you do your run after your workout, and what in a good day, what it is gonna be is you will be back to what you woke up at, which is, in my case would be 217. If you're really fortunate, if you really killed it in the gym, you'll wake up at your cut weight, 215. So if you cut at the end of the day and you come home and you're at your cut weight, then success, because you're guaranteed to lose weight in the next day, because you're going to wake up a couple of pounds lighter. So but the most important thing is to making sure that you are back to your wake up weight, because whatever you woke up at, you're going to lose a couple of pounds while you sleep. So you woke up at 217, at the end of your day post workout, you're at 217 again. You're going to go to sleep, you're going to float 2 pounds, wake up at 215. You run, if you're cutting from 215 and you ran, you're looking at 2 to 3 more pounds. So, and then of course that's how you cut weight throughout the week. You cut, if you match back down to what you woke up at the day before, you're gonna float off 2 pounds, and then you're gonna be waking up at the weight you cut you the next day, and then you're cutting into it like that. I'm sorry if that's confusing or whatnot. It shouldn't be. Hopefully, just run back and listen to it again. But that's how you progressively cut weight a little bit at a time. And generally speaking, I would cut 10 to 15 pounds a week, because I was maintaining, right? So I would wake up at like 228 on the day of work, and I would cut down to 226, and then by the end of the week, I'd be 216. Before I started doing what I'm doing right now, I was at 216 is what I would get to, and I got that weight consistently for a month, right? I'd cut down to 216, so I'd wake up at 228 at the beginning of the week, at the beginning of the work week, and I'd be 216 at the end of the week. And then I would hit the weekend, margarita, Chili's buffet, and right back up to 230 again. And then the same, rinse and repeat the next week. Now, if you're worried, thinking, well, that's not healthy cutting that much weight, remember, again, a large portion of that weight I'm cutting is fluids. Because there's no way that you should go to sleep at like 232 and be able to get on the treadmill 8 hours later and be 226. And so a big amount of that weight that you're floating is water, fluids, because I'm getting up like an old man to piss throughout the night, piss twice throughout the night, wake up, piss again, and then plus the breathing you do and the sweating you do while you're asleep also cuts weight. So that's why you wake up, and that's why it's such a huge difference. So don't freak out too much. But remember, you can't really go crazy like that, like going that high, unless you're done cutting. You're just at maintaining. If you're still cutting and you're chilling out on the weekends, so I didn't say that earlier, and I forgot to say it. When I was still eat what I want on the weekends, but I was also doing my cardio still twice a day. So that was why I was able to do that while I was cutting weight. Now I'm not, so I can take the rest days and still eat like a crazy animal, because it doesn't matter. I'm letting my body recover. All right, so yeah, I guess that's it, which is right around getting close to an hour, which is what I figured this would be, just talking about my story. Those of you guys that have, followed this long or whatnot, or whatever, or maybe, I guess, because just in case you come from this is a channel for engine building, but I figured I'd do this, you know, to help people out. Also, I'm a veteran. Obviously, I said that earlier. And I'm also re-enlisting. So that's the reason why I'm talking about I can't really eat. You know, I went and talked to a recruiter a week ago. Again, I passed tape at 224 pounds. I passed tape. He's like, all right, but, you know, of course I'm sucking in, fucking cheating a little bit. And of course, he's telling me, like, yeah, hold that shit in, motherfucker. He's like, you should be good. He's like, but don't go fucking crazy and get big again. I was like, okay, fine, there's no problem. So I started, you know, doing my normal thing, cutting throughout the week. And then he hit me up yesterday. And he was like, okay, hey, come back in. We're going to check your weight again real quick. You know, make sure you're still on point. At this point in time, yesterday, Thursday, I'm thinking, or today's Thursday, right? Wednesday. Yeah, so yesterday, Wednesday, at this point in time, I'm thinking I still have a week before I need to go to MEPS. You know, so I'm like, okay, fine. You know, my weight's on point. You know, it's where I would expect it to be this time of the week. I was at a school function. I hadn't really eaten more than a snack. I was like, well, I'm about to smash McDonald's after we got out here. While I'm in the school function, I get a text from Sergeant Diaz. Hey, you know, we're gonna go check your weight tomorrow at 9:30 if you can't make it in. Sure, no problem. So I get in. I'm 214 fucking pounds, and he's like, wow, you dropped 10 pounds. And he's like, we can get a 38 out of you on tape, you know, so you should be good. Like, I don't see any reason why you should miss. 20 because I'm a veteran. Okay, so you have your initial enlistment weight. You're allowed 28% of body fat for my age, and then but the standard is 24 once you're active duty, like you're in. But because I'm prior service, they're gonna hold me to that 24% standard, so I have to be 24% going in. So I'm at 23, 22. Like if you when he take me the first time, I was at 23%. You know, at today's measurements, I'm at like 19. I'm going to the hotel in a couple hours, and then MEPS tomorrow. But just to be sure, not fucking around, you know, because you never know who's going to tape you or how their attitude's going to be, I am going to fast the rest of the day. This is the first time ever I'm doing a 24-hour fast, but I'm going to do it. Do a 24-hour fast. 214, the last time I hopped on a scale, an hour ago. So I would imagine 24 hours with just water, and I'm still going to work out at the hotel. I'm gonna run again. I would imagine that I should be walking into MEPS. You know, MEPS is gonna be there at 5:30 in the morning, and then the medical part's not gonna come until like around noon. So I would imagine before they feed you, and we have lunch there. So I would imagine that by the time I actually hop on a scale, that I might be in the single digits for the 200s. I might be around 208 again, what I initially enlisted at. So yeah, also because I've had a lot of prior service guys hit me up about how I'm going about it or whatnot. It really isn't a big mystery there either. But I guess I'm gonna make two separate videos. One of them I'm gonna make it for prior service for what is relevant at this point in time in 2019. I'm gonna make another one for people for what to expect in basic training. Now I know that things may have changed a little bit, but I doubt they've changed that much. And you know, this is just some tips if you're thinking about going into the military, what you can, well, at least for the Army. I don't know about the Navy and the Air Force, which I've heard is much easier for them, or the Marine Corps is probably a little bit tougher, probably a little bit harder standards for PT than the Army is. But at least I can give you a heads up on what going into the Army, what to expect in basic training, what I dealt with mentally, because this is where most of it takes place. That most of your shit that you're concerned about is in your mind, and a little bit physically too. And it should be a short video, but it's something still important if you're considering it. All right, guys, thanks for watching, and peace.